25 apps have been removed from the Google Play Store.
Hey, John, I have a story about when androids attack.
Yeah, kind of. It's the kind of same old, I guess, is the way to say it. About a week ago or so, a French company called Avena, which I probably butchered that a little bit. My French pronunciation is not the greatest. Found basically a library, a bunch of apps that were using this function call. Kind of an interesting mechanism that this malware was, this library, malicious library was using, in that it would, when you go to authenticate or do some functions, it would pop up a Facebook prompt. Like typically, like a lot of apps do that, like leverage the Facebook credentials. And what it was doing is that rather than actually using that API to Facebook, it was actually popping up the browser, creating that interface to Facebook. And then when you entered your credentials, it was capturing those credentials and shooting them off to whatever server they wish to, including some that happen to be in some countries where you may not want your user ID and password to go to. So, they report this to Google Play, or to Google, I should say. And Google, removed these from the Play Store, which they're pretty good about any credible issues with it. And, but there was a good number of these, like about 25 or so of these apps just recently. When we hear about this, like I said, fairly regularly, the good thing about when Google removes these is that your Android phone has a feature called Play Protect. And what Play Protect will actually do is it'll pop up a message that says, hey, this app's no longer there. Kind of a warning. You can sometimes, depending on the settings and whatnot, you might be able to run the app. But typically, you would say, don't run this app. It doesn't remove the product from your phone, but it does, warn you that it's not the best thing to have there, and it's no longer on the Google Play Store. And it certainly speaks to the need to kind of be careful about what you install on your phone. Make sure your settings and privacy settings are all up to par, up to date, and that you're paying attention to the things that happen on your phone.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that if there's apps that you're not using, you try to clean them off of your device if because there's no reason to have that as a risk if you're not even using it.
I think it's interesting that this is something that most users of a phone probably don't understand, that the apps are kind of aware of each other, that one can kind of tell that Facebook is just about to run and then pop up something in front of it to mess with it. But they kind of assume that, I clicked Facebook and the next thing that's going to show up on my phone is going to be Facebook, right? That seems reasonable.
Right.
Yeah, you're leveraging Facebook credentials. I mean, I get that a lot of times with apps. It says, do you want to enter your own user ID, password, or create an account, or do you just want to use your Facebook credentials?
Log in with Facebook, right?
Yeah. And I'll do. We love that single sign-on. That federated authentication and credentialing. It's nice. But in this case, you might get fooled just because they're popping that Facebook, those Facebook prompts up in front of you in what appears to be a normal fashion, but it's actually, through a browser that's malicious. Yeah, like that. I think the key here is you kind of keep an eye on, I think you said it, Manish, too, is if you're not using an app, get rid of it. If you are using it, it's acting kind of funky, get rid of it. And then if you don't want to use those other credentials, then don't necessarily use those if you don't have to. I mean, they're good. They're shortcuts, and I don't think that there's a lot of security issues with it. However, sometimes you may not want that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that, it's convenient, but at the same time, having been told for years and years, use a different password everywhere, it kind of violates that, right? It kind of means that your password is your password everywhere. Granted, you're authenticating all through the same system ultimately, but it does open up everything with one password. So, I don't really use it all that often.
It's very nice to have that feature, but is it worth the risk, right? Especially, a lot of people have a lot of information on their Facebook accounts, and to have that compromised, you're potentially giving up a lot of your security in other parts of your life, which is that to me does not seem like enough of a payoff for the convenience.
Yeah, and the other good thing is like modern phones. I mean, most modern phones, most modern apps too, is you enter a user. You can create your own user ID and password. And we always say, oh, I hate to have to remember different passwords, but most of the phones now have some kind of a safe if you want to use that, and those are pretty secure. And so, if you just want to use that and let it, I know in my Apple phone, they'll say, select a password, and it gives a password that I'll never ever remember in a million years, and that's great because I'm not going to write it down. It's in my safe if I choose to use it, and it's there, and nobody's going to break into it. But like I said, it speaks. I think this kind of thing just speaks to the, like you said, you're all saying is just keep an eye on your apps and just know if they're acting a little funny, or you see, hey, somebody just posted something on Facebook to my account. That's little things that you may not pay attention to, but you really should.